So, in the end of Parsha Shoftim, we have the Parsha of Degla Rufa. You don't know who killed him. So there's an entire process, procedure that the Torah talks about. You have to measure out who's closest to the city, and the assumption being that the murderer came from, I should say the murdered one, also probably the murderer as well, but as we'll see from Rashi, focus is where this murdered person came from, and we have to bring an egla, or if the calf that was never worked, and the procedure of breaking its neck, and amazingly, the have to wash your hands over this calf. The entire process. I mean, you see how the importance of every neshama, and that don't just shake your head and say somebody got killed. It's terrible. Let's move on. But the Torah demands focus on every single Jew. V'anu v'amru, and in a sense retribution and a sense of kapara, for atonement and forgiveness for anything that could have gone down like this. This was a murder of one of our people, and committed, assumed by one of our people, and the Shoftim have to come out. Okay, we did not spill this man's blood, and our eyes didn't see. And as a result, Hashem, please forgive us, and do not allow innocent blood to flow in Klal Yisrael. Let's please, please forgive us. So Rashi says words that again we think about, and I know we always think Elul is a time of focus between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's certainly true. The concept of Anil Doli V'Dodi Li, but it also, as we know from Chazal, they talk about the fact that if we are so beloved to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then the concept is that we are all beloved to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's something that we have to focus on in terms of our avodas Hashem, to think and to recognize that the concern and the love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for each and every one of us, as I look out towards my fellow Jew, I have to see that love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to him. And I have to, if I feel the love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I hopefully reciprocate it, which is what El is about, of us wanting to go a little bit above and beyond and preparing ourselves for the Yom Neroim by getting closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One of the most powerful ways of getting closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is by getting closer to his children, by going out of our way to express love and concern for every member of Klal Yisrael. So in light of that, so we say these words. We look at Rashi. Rashi says, I mean, what kind of statement is it that these shoftim, these dayanim, these great rabbis who are pretty much pasking shilos all day and sitting in the Sanhedrin or the Batei Dinim throughout Klal Yisrael, they from that city, the leading rabbis have to come out and say, we didn't spill this man's blood? Would one ever think that they were the perpetrators of the crime? How would you, what would you ever think that way? It seems like so far-fetched, so ridiculous that they should have to come out and go through this procedure and say these words. If you want to say they represent, the person who got killed, and they're representing the city, and but it doesn't seem that way. What does that mean? Ella, so Rashi tells us what it means is not that we didn't spill this man's blood. What it means is we did not see this man in our city. I mean, I guess they are responsible for their city as well. That we did not see this man and let him leave our city without the proper mizonos, without the proper escort. That we didn't. We were not remiss in giving him a proper farewell. So what's this going on here? I mean, so what's the farewell and giving him a goodie bag have to do with him dying later on? What's the connection? It's a different shot, but I think the mainstream shot of the connection is that this person who died, he was attacked, and he clearly was not able to fend off his attacker, and he got killed. If we were guilty of letting this guy leave our city dispirited, if we allowed this person to leave our city feeling, oh my gosh, nobody cares about me, what kind of place is this? I come, I stay, I spend some time here, and now I'm leaving, and no one gives me farewell, no one escorts me to the edge of the town, no one gave me any food. So that dispirits a person. When a person is dispirited, it leaves the person more susceptible. When you feel strong, you feel up, you feel positive. It's also just another very powerful lesson in the Torah's understanding of kochos hanefesh. They understand the human nature, human dynamic. You leave a person a little dispirited, feeling down, then that is, in a sense, letting him be more susceptible to an attack than if he's up and if he's positive, he's feeling good about himself, he's feeling that I can take on the world. Look at these people; they really care about me. I feel good. There is a possibility. You can't say for sure, but there's at least a possibility, and therefore we're taking the responsibility of that. And to say, let it not be thought of for a second that we let this person leave our city without the proper provisions, without the proper goodbye. We didn't dispirit this person. We didn't sap his energy and sap his excitement about life, and therefore we would not in any way accomplices to this terrible tragedy. And Baruch Hashem, and for the tragedy itself, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please forgive us, and this should not happen again in Klal Yisrael. So that's the basic message. So certainly you do see how the Torah recognizes how the psychological state of a person impacts a person's ability to function properly, and it's certainly very important. But it's something even more powerful, I think, over here in this Rashi. It's incredible with Rashi with the pasuk, because we know that the Torah is very often the Torah writes things in a way that don't really speak to the way we think about things, but the Torah is opening up our eyes to the way we need to look at it from the point of view of the Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's words have such profound messages in terms of this is my standard. They say, just for an example, and the word hate by us means hate. If you have this passion, negativity, but by the Torah standards, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that Leah was hated, all that means in the Torah's definition that Yaakov didn't like Leah as much, or love Leah as much as he loved Rachel, and therefore the words of the Torah of hated is a relative terms to give an idea of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu sort of judges a lack of love in the HaKadosh Baruch Hu's eyes. That's hatred. Well, how you don't? You're lacking the proper love. You're not extending yourself the same way to a Leah than to a Rachel. Hashem sees that Leah is hated. We get through the word, through the way the Torah uses words, the true definition of those words, what it really means. Here too we see something very incredible, because the Torah doesn't say we did not dispirit this guy. The Torah doesn't say that they have to come out and say that we didn't sap this person of his zest for life, of his excitement. None of that. The Torah says we did not spill this man's blood. So yes, Rashi explains what that really means, but that's not what the words we say. We say we didn't spill this man's blood. How could you say such words when that's not at all even what you're referring to? Unless we go a little bit deeper and understand that Torah is saying to us, again, you need to understand my definition. When I talk about murder, yes, we think about murder from the point of view of killing somebody, but the Torah's definition of spilling blood could have nothing to do with actually taking somebody's actual life and killing him. What it has to do with is, how did you relate to him? Did you take away some of his chiyus, some of his life, in terms of some of his positivity, some of his self-image, some of his attitude about how he walks around, in terms of is he up, is he positive, is he optimistic, or is he down and negative and dispirited? That's called murder. That's called taking away a person's life, because those are the words the Torah uses in describing this event. And we know it from Chazal about the fact that if you malam play chaver barabim, right? That's in a way that's every one of the big three averos have a subcategory. There's a subcategory of gila rayos in terms of intimacy without actual relations. There's a subcategory of avodah zarah where you worship in avodah zarah and you don't actually worship it in the way it's normally worshipped. It's called abizrayid avodah zarah. It's a subcategory because you're not worshiping this particular avodah zarah in the way you'd normally do it. It's still prohibited, but it doesn't come with a death penalty. So too, there's a subcategory of murder. The subcategory of murder is embarrassing somebody, or you see from here even dispiriting somebody, or taking away somebody's positive feeling about themselves. He came to town and no one said boo, no one cared about him, no one said goodbye to him. He just came and he went. He feels what's going on here? No one makes me feel like I'm a human being. And so you see how if this is the Torah's definition, how careful we have to be. How part of our responsibility is not to chas v'shalom in any way infringe on a person's self-esteem, and how careful we have to be in terms of the words that we use. And the positive aspect of this is the flip side. If this is the Torah's definition of spilling somebody's blood, if you don't take care of him properly, you don't give him the attention that he needs, you don't give him the proper escort, you don't say, have a nice day, whatever it is that was lacking in terms of the relationship here, that they're saying we're not guilty of that, but that was the concern, that they were guilty. Well, if you do give somebody that chiyus, you give somebody that bounce in his step and that smile in the morning or whatever it might be, or the pat on the back to be concerned about him, that's called giving him life. If dispiriting him is called taking his life, spilling his blood, well then, we have in a sense the incredible opportunity of literally giving life. We don't really think we have the life is not in our hands, right? We always say life is in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hands. Well, yes and no. Ultimately it is, but when it comes to the day-to-day interactions with people, that's literally within our hands. We can give a person a little extra bounce in a step, a little extra positive outlook upon life. So certainly as we are now fully in Elul, and it's all about relationships and about our connection to Kodesh Baruch Hu, there is, as I mentioned, the Bali Musa say that when we worry about Kodesh Baruch Hu's children and make sure that we can lift up their spirits and give them a positive outlook and connect them more positively to Klal Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's the ultimate gift that we can give them. We're giving them life, and Bez Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if we give HaKadosh Baruch Hu's children's life, and Bez Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu will see that and reciprocate and give everyone in Klal Yisrael, all of us, Bez Hashem, a good year and good life.